Sandwiched in between the end of the Golden Era and before the merger, a brief bout of greatness can be discovered. Enter Bob McAdoo, a high-scoring, highly efficient superstar big man. So join me as I go through the brief bout and everything else in his career in the basketball experiment. Bob McAdoo was selected second overall by the Buffalo Braves in the 1972 draft, joining a franchise in its third year of existence. He treaded water as a rookie, but the Braves still had a long way to go, winning only 21 games. With just one season under his belt, the 22-year-old McAdoo exploded into stardom in 1974, playing at an All-NBA first-team level despite only making the second team, and finishing second in the MVP voting. The Braves leapt up as well, having the first winning season and the first postseason appearance as well. In the playoffs, the Braves went out 4-2 in the semis to the Celtics, but McAdoo fared well, playing at an All-NBA level in the series. Success was built upon higher in 1975. The Braves won 49 games, and McAdoo played at an MVP level, subjectively and objectively. And now we're going to take a look at the 1975 MVP season for Bob McAdoo, a massive league-leading 34.5 points per game on 51% shooting, still able to maintain efficiency while putting up a lot of shots. And a very comfortable double-double with 14.1 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and 3.2 stocks. Excellent defensive statistics as well from McAdoo. And the advanced stats, the PER at 25.8, total win shares leading the league with 17.8, also leading the league in offensive win shares at 12.7, and a league-leading win shares per 48 at .242, BPM at 4.7, and the VORP at 6. And now we have a nice, somewhat rare moment, which I am in complete agreement with the NBA voting bloc, which was still the players at this point. With McAdoo winning the MVP, I do agree wholeheartedly, although I disagree with who he was competing against, because in the actual voting, Elvin Hayes finished second. I still think, despite missing 20 games, Kareem was the only other player you could consider for the MVP. But McAdoo plays the full season, and I think he ends up outplaying Kareem in the regular season, deserving of the MVP. Just a special season from Bob McAdoo. In the Game 4 victory of the semis versus the Bullets, the Braves tied the series 2-2, thanks to a masterpiece from McAdoo, 50 points and 21 rebounds on 62% shooting from the field. The next two games would be split, setting up a Game 7. But a disappointing end for a great season for McAdoo. The Braves lost by 19 points. And now we'll take a look at the last two postseasons for Bob McAdoo, and we'll combine them. It's not a big sample, just 13 games. First, with the basic stats, his whopping scoring still there at 34.8 points per game, and the easy double-double at 13.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and the impressive 3.4 stocks, and shooting a decent percentage at 48%. I also wanted to point out the different minutes per game in the 70s for players. McAdoo averaging incredible 46 minutes a game, barely having any time to rest on the bench. And now looking at the advanced stats, the PER at 22.8. The highest amount of total win shares he would have was in the 1975 series versus the Bullets at 1.1. and the combined win shares per 48 at 0.17, and the BPM at 4.2. I think it's interesting to show that he did play at an All-NBA level in these postseasons. Yes, it just did not include a longer run. McAdoo's play would drop a level in 1976, playing at a comfortable All-NBA level, although he was left off the teams. He would finish second in MVP voting. McAdoo wasn't as effective in the playoffs as he was the previous two postseasons. The Braves lost in 6 to the Celtics, making it the third straight year they would lose in the semifinals. A quarter of the way through the 1977 season, McAdoo was traded, staying in New York, but moving southeast to join the Knicks. He played well for the Knicks, playing above the All-Star level he was named to, but there was no postseason. The team finished under 500. 1978 was the last year McAdoo received an MVP vote. The Knicks got over 500, but were still mediocre, swept in the semis by the 76ers. McAdoo really struggled in the series, shooting only 40%. Midway through 1979, McAdoo was traded again, playing 20 games for the rebuilding Boston Celtics. Traded yet again late in the offseason, the 28-year-old would suit up for the Detroit Pistons. A disastrous season, just 16 wins, and by far the worst season of McAdoo's career. He only played 16 games in 1981, 10 of the games for another new team, the New Jersey Nets. Christmas Eve, 1981. McAdoo has yet to play a game in the season, involved in a contract dispute and recovering from an injury. Throwing the last two seasons where McAdoo's performance was a long way away from his 1975 MVP season, and things were looking pretty bleak for McAdoo. But a career lifeline would be thrown. He would join the juggernaut Lakers to fill a key role player position. McAdoo excelled in his role in the postseason, which ended in the Lakers' championship. For the first time since Buffalo, McAdoo had found a new home. The next two seasons would feature final runs for the Lakers, but no titles. However, in 1985, McAdoo got his second championship ring with the Lakers. In January of 1986, McAdoo signed with the 76ers. He finished out the season and played 5 games in the playoffs, which ended in the semifinals. McAdoo headed overseas to continue playing, but the Sixers were the last team he would play for in the NBA. And as McAdoo's NBA career comes to an end, we will take a look back at his prime, encompassing the 1974 through 1978 seasons. First with the basic stats, just under 30 points per game at 29.8, 13.4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3.3 stocks, shooting the efficient 51% from the field. And the advanced stats, the PER at 23.6, average win shares per season at a very impressive 13.2, and the win shares per 48 at 0.197, and the BPM at 4. And definitely, in my opinion, this is pretty comfortably at that All-NBA level, getting close to an All-NBA first-team level for the majority of his prime. Although, as I mentioned earlier, he only made it once in real life with his MVP season in 75, and he only made one other All-NBA selection, which was in 74. I think he's easily there in 76. How strange it is that he did finish second in MVP voting, but did not make an All-NBA team. That is very strange. And even in 77 and 78, I think he's right there on the borderline of being an All-NBA level player. And now we'll take a look at the playoffs during the prime of McAdoo and compare them to the regular season. First, with the basic stats, points go up just by 0.5 to 30.3 a game. The rebounds go down just by 0.5 to 12.9 rebounds a game. The 0.5 trend continues, down 0.5 for assists to 2.5 in the playoffs. And the stocks are virtually the same in the playoffs at 3.1. The shooting takes a bit of a drop from 51% in the regular season to 47% in the playoffs, so not quite as efficient. But we'll take a look at how the advanced stats hold up. And we see the PER does take a dip from 23.6 to 20.8 in the playoffs. The win shares per 48 takes quite a drop from 0.197 to 0.122, and the BPM also dropping from 4 to 2.4. So the advanced stats tell us during his prime in the postseason, he is not at the same level. He's not at the All-NBA level. In my opinion, I would say he's more at an all-star level in the playoffs, which is still noteworthy, but a little disappointing for how great he was in the regular season during this stretch. So as the title says, it is a brief bout of greatness, but he makes it in this particular spot on the list because for that one season in 1975, he's the best player in the regular season. I definitely think that should count for something, even if we want to say, well, maybe the mid-70s weren't as strong as other eras. I just don't think that's fair to pick and choose the eras of what we want to say is acceptable and weaker. I just say we put all the eras on the same equal footing so we don't forget great players from previous eras, like Bob McAdoo, who had his run of being one of the best players in the league in 74 and being the best player in the regular season in 1975, winning the MVP as well, which also matters. He wasn't great in the playoffs, but he wasn't bad either. He was a good player in the playoffs during his prime. Using all those reasons and anchored by that great 1975 season is why McAdoo is here on the list. If you agree or disagree, let me know down in the comments. And thank you for watching.